Brandon Aiyuk has given us something to talk about. He says the 49ers don't want him anymore, and I kind of think he might be right. They have 32 million in cap space right now and can create an additional 40 million with restructures, so the money is there. They are projected to be 37 million in the red next year, but that's nothing out of the ordinary. The cap will raise a little bit. They'll extend some players and get themselves in a good cap spot. So it does seem as though Aiyuk may be on his way out. We're going to take a look at the potential teams he could be traded to, what the impact for fantasy will be for Brandon Aiyuk, as well as the potential players around him. And before we get into that, if you're not drafting Ricky Pearsall right now, I would go ahead and start because he's in the mid 150s, and if Brandon Aiyuk gets traded, his draft stock and his opportunity this season is going to skyrocket. Alright, for our first stop, we are looking at the Washington Commanders. This is the source of these rumors because for those who don't know, Brandon Aiyuk sent a message to his former college quarterback and new Commanders quarterback, Jayden Daniels, earlier this week. This is who he told that the 49ers don't want him anymore. But if the Commanders want Brandon Aiyuk, they definitely have the resources to do so. They are 37 million in the green in cap space right now and are projected to be 70 million in the green next year. So they've got the money to make this happen. And I like this trade both for the Commanders and for Brandon Aiyuk. There's the benefit that Brandon Aiyuk has already established chemistry with their rookie quarterback, and that is more than you could ask for with a rookie quarterback. Also, Brandon Aiyuk will not have as many weapons to compete with on the Commanders' offense. When you look at the 49ers offense, he has to compete with George Kittle, Deebo Samuel, and all of this is in an offense that runs through Christian McCaffrey. So if the Commanders do indeed pick up Brandon Aiyuk, expect his stock to rise. And honestly, I think it might assist Terry McLaurin a little bit as well, having a receiver to take some of the pressure off him. The person who will not benefit from this is Jahan Dotson. His stock will likely fall a bit. But all in all, for a team that's likely going to trail in games, it's a game script that favors wide receivers, and this will help Brandon Aiyuk's fantasy draft status. Now, the team I like most of all the rumored landing spots for Brandon Aiyuk is the Los Angeles Chargers. Unfortunately, they have the least cap space out of any of the rumored landing spots, but they do still have 21 million in cap space, and they can make some extra money with some restructures of contracts or handing out some extensions. They could also potentially backload the Aiyuk contract and push more of the money into the later years. They probably would still have to free up some cap space for this year though. But if the Chargers can land him, that's going to do wonders for this offense. Right now, their wide receiver room is sort of a mishmash of wide receivers. They've got Joshua Palmer, Quentin Johnston, DJ Chark. They've got rookie draft pick Brendan Rice. But they've got a ton of wide receivers on that roster, and it seems as though they're in this sort of purgatory when it comes to that position. And they're hoping that one of them emerges as a wide receiver one. If Brandon Aiyuk comes into that equation, that problem is instantly solved. And it gives the most underrated quarterback in the league, in my opinion, in Justin Herbert, an excellent target. I also think that it'll help the run game a ton. They invested in the O-line position in the draft, and we know that their new coach Harbaugh wants to establish the run early. So if you have a player like Aiyuk out there, really forcing those defenses to spread out a little bit instead of forcing stacked boxes for whether it's Edwards, Dobbins, or the running back who I'm most bullish on, Kaimani Vidal, it's going to help the entire offense. So if the Chargers can make this happen, look out. All right, next up we've got the Steelers. Now, Mike Tomlin and Brandon Aiyuk did trade some public admiration a little while ago, so there seems to be some mutual interest there. The Steelers don't have a ton of money though. They have 15 million in cap space, and they also need to save some of that for potential in-season signings, but they do have a ton of players who are eligible for contract extensions and restructures, so a deal can get done. If this trade goes through with the Steelers, I think it might have a mildly negative impact on George Pickens. Instead of going in the 50s, I would then place George Pickens more around the 65 to 70 mark as far as ADP is concerned. I think the running backs will benefit a ton though, because right now George Pickens seems to be the only threat the defenses have to worry about, and Najee Harris, as I've mentioned in some of my previous videos, pretty much faced more stacked boxes than just about any running back in the NFL. So they're going to be looking for ways to draw some of the attention off of their run game, keep defenses on their toes, and Brandon Aiyuk would be an excellent candidate for that. I also do think that Aiyuk would have a little bit more value with the Steelers than the 49ers for some of the previously mentioned reasons. With the 49ers, he has to compete with Kittle, Deebo Samuel, and an offense that runs through Christian McCaffrey. I think he would have a little bit more leeway and a little bit more target shares if he did in fact move to the Pittsburgh Steelers. All right, lastly, we've got the New England Patriots. Before we get into that, if you're enjoying this video, do me a solid, hit that subscribe. I've got tons of fantasy analysis videos already made and tons more coming as we navigate through the offseason. I'll be here helping you guys out during the in-season as well. All right, the New England Patriots. You want to talk about a team that'll skyrocket someone's fantasy value? This will be big if he goes to the Patriots. The Patriots have the money to do it. They've got tons and tons of cap space, and their wide receiver room is a little bit shaky. They've got a couple good draft picks. They've got Jalen Pope coming in and Javon Baker, who I think is going to be an excellent player in this league with a couple years of experience. And what better to help these young receivers than bringing in a true number one veteran receiver? This would be a smart move for the Patriots. And additionally worth noting, they also have a rookie quarterback. What helps elevate a rookie quarterback more than a dominant wide receiver? So this can help the Patriots from a lot of different angles. Another reason that I love this potential landing spot is the fact that the Patriots are going to trail in a lot of games. And it's so important to always be thinking about game script as it relates to fantasy football. If a team is trailing in the second half, they're going to start abandoning that run game. And when that run game is abandoned, all that does is help that wide receiver get more targets. And if you're playing in a PPR league, as most people do, that's more value than you could ask for. So this Patriots trade, if it did happen, would be very interesting, and it would definitely skyrocket Aiyuk's ADP.